Why am I so motherfucking high though? Why am I so motherfucking high though? What's up? How y'all doing? All right, man. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, man. Okay, let's get back into this conversation. So we were talking about, right? So we were talking about forgiveness and apologies, right? What are they for? What are the reasons for them? What is the point of repairing a burnt bridge, right? And even to the degree of, is there a point to repairing a bridge, even if that bridge, even if you repaired it, it's going to be a very weak structural bridge. It's going to be a shadow of what it once was. I mean, all of these things matter, right? So we were talking about, let me see. So we were talking about the two sides, right? On what is the responsibility of both sides, right? Both sides, right? Because when you're dealing, and this goes for kind of like all the relationships across the board, right? So whether you're married or whether you're in a long-term relationship, or whether you're in a just a friendship or a long-term friendship or even family, right? So like you have to look at everything nuanced as it is, right? And so you have to understand exactly what is the situation going on, okay? And so is there a point in which the person who did the wrong has no more obligation to make it right with the person that they did wrong? Is there a point? And I think that there is a point, but where that point is, I think a lot of people cut that point too short. I think what a lot of people do, like I was saying before, is that a lot of people like to say things like, yeah, I'm sorry. And, I'm sorry and there's nothing else I can do about it. And I don't know what to tell you if that's it. You know what I mean? Like that to me is a very weak apology, right? In my opinion, there's a lot of people that give that apology, or that some form of that apology, right? Which is, yeah, you know what? That was my bad. I did that shit. My bad. And there's nothing I can do about it. And that simple idea, that to me is a problematic apology. And I think a lot of people, what happens is they give that apology, right? And I mean, a lot of people give that basic apology right now without looking at how it looks like from the other side. Because when you're coming from the other side of that, looking at that and receiving that, right? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's so dismissive, right? And this is the reason why we have a lot of problems today when we sit down and we talk about, you know, uh, understanding each other as men to other men, or women to other women, or men to women, or black men to black women, or black men to other black men, black women to other black women, it's blase, so on and so forth, right? So we're talking about this in a big thing, but we have to make sure we understand that this is truly nuanced, right? And so you got to understand that if you know that you've done wrong, I mean, you have to have some sort of contrition. You have to understand, if you really mean to, at least, and this is my opinion, like if you really mean, I'm sorry, I apologize, I think you'll understand that you're going to have to work, right? A little bit. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like this overt working and, oh, yeah, you just put me through the ringer because I did something wrong. No, I think people just want to make sure that they can trust you again. I think people just want to make sure that they can, they can give you some of themselves and not be fucking shit on by that, right? And after you've already dismantled trust from somebody, I don't think it's easy for anybody. I think it's especially hard for the person who actually did wrong to someone, the person that's supposedly apologizing. I think it's terribly deceiving, like when they sit here and they give a half-ass apology and then expect people to just acknowledge it, receive it, accept it, and just move on. You know what I mean? And I think that goes to the shallowness of how we are as individuals to each other. And I think this is one of the big reasons why relationships don't last. Uh, and I mean relationships, I mean families are all sorts of fucked up, friendships are all sorts of fucked up, relationships, sexual and long-term relationships are all sorts of fucked up. So we have a lot of problems. And I think the biggest problem is we're sitting here, we're all trying to say, oh yeah, we're all victims, we're all victims, we're all victims. But the problem is nobody wants to be the aggressor when it is their turn to be the aggressor. It is their time to be the aggressor. And let's not get it twisted. When you shit on someone, when you do something wrong to someone, you are shitting on someone. You are fucking someone over. If you did something like, you know, made them pay for a dinner when they shouldn't have paid, and you don't say nothing about it, or you take advantage of their niceties and they, all the things that they do for you, or, different things, take your homegirl's boyfriend and you didn't think it was that big of a deal. I don't fucking know. Right. But you have to mean your apology, and you have to be legitimately, um, like, you have to be legitimately, um, like sincere with that apology. And I think people have lost that. And I think people have churned, because what happens is this. I think we've gotten into this state of mind where people, it's like we're no longer in the time of taking accountability. The time of taking accountability is kind of moved on. What you now have to do is you kind of just have to accept people at their word, right? So if I say, you did me wrong this way, this way, this way, this way, and they say, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to get over it. Otherwise, I'm the one that's hurt, and I'm the one that needs to fucking figure out what's wrong with me, because they gave me some dismissive apology that really doesn't mean anything, right? And I'm supposed to be the bad guy. And we've gotten to this point where now we've all feel like, well, if we don't just accept that apology, we're being the small ones. We're being petty, or we're being, oh, why don't you just let it go? Why don't you just get over it? Well, again, when we're dealing with relationships, a lot of people aren't paying attention to the fact that we have time invested with these individuals in which we're pissed off at. Because if you didn't have any time invested into individuals, whether they're your friend, your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, it doesn't matter, right? If you didn't have no time invested in them, you wouldn't truly give two shits on how they feel about shit, right? Right? So the thing is if you didn't know them and you had no time invested in anyone, you see what I'm saying? Then you wouldn't give two shits at all. But if you have time invested in people and then you're fucking hurt and you're feeling like somebody deceived you, lied to you, did you wrong in whatever way, and they, know that they did you wrong. And for them to give you a dismissive apology, it's kind of like dismissive of everything you even put me through in the first place, right? And it's kind of shitting on the person again. So it's kind of like people don't really apologize, but they expect you to really just kind of get over it and just kind of move on. And then people wonder why people talk shit behind people's back, and we don't have no kind of relationships no more. We don't have friends because all of our friends always just stabbing us in the back, and we wonder why all this stuff is happening. Well, the fact of the matter is because we're superficially trying to act like we are fucking human and we're cool and we care about other people's feelings. But the fact of the matter is most of us really just don't give a fuck about anybody else's feelings. We're all selfish, right? We're all selfish, all of us, right? So when, the only time you ever actually really like apologize to anybody, and I dare people to actually think about this and really go back in their head, right? Like, some of us feel bad for certain things, but I know there's been multiple times where people haven't really felt bad for certain things that they've done. They've been like, well, I don't feel bad for it because I didn't, but they've apologized, and then they kind of go around acting like they're a little bit remorseful about it, but you're really not, right? And that happens more often than not, right? Believe it or not, if you sit down and be honest with yourself, that actually happens a lot more often than not, that you're just kind of dismissing the people, and you're just kind of like, okay, I guess I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And and that's how we kind of like live our lives, right? We live our lives kind of dismissing other people. We live our lives trying to act like, in some way, you know, yeah, we're not this evil bad person. We don't mean to intentionally do you wrong, but sometimes I just don't give a shit if I do you wrong. But nobody likes to admit that shit. But that's the fact. And we've gotten to the point where, a lot of people would just do things to save face in front of a lot of people. And I think that's just really big and it's mistaken. And I think people need to understand a little bit better what's the point? Because if you're not doing it sincerely, why do it at all? That's the point. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, that's going to be my ultimate point, right? It's going to be, if you're not doing it sincerely and you really just don't give a shit about it, then why do it at all? Why would, you as a human being go around and do that much work where you just wanted to go out and act and make everybody be like, yeah, I'm not a bad person, I swear to God. And I've come to the realization, I think it's come down to this. It's because we don't want to look at ourselves as bad people, right? So, right, you don't never want to be introspective, right? And look at yourself and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm a pretty shitty person, right? You know, you don't want to do that, right? And it's like only so many people actually really do that in life, right? A lot of people claim to do that shit. A lot of people claim to sit around and be like, yeah, you know, I'm just a pretty fucking shitty individual. You know that? You're right. Anybody that really gives themselves true introspection like that, they ultimately, like, this is how you know you're like deceiving yourself, because ultimately you always tell yourself, ultimately, like, no matter how many bad things I'm doing, ultimately, really, I feel like I'm a good person. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm a good person. I want to be a good person, right? Right? It doesn't matter all the other things, all the little things that really show that you're really a fucking really, really, really shitty person, right? You ignore all those things, right? And then we just pay attention and we put the most emphasis on the things that we feel make us the least shittiest people, right? And so what I've realized is that, I've realized the fact that I don't think most people have ever given a sincere apology. And I think I've accepted the fact that most people will never give a sincere apology, ever fucking mean it, or ever actually really mean what they say if they are apologizing for anything. And the reason why is because they don't really care. Nobody really cares. The only time they really fucking legitimately give you a sincere apology is like if they really want you in their life for whatever reason it is, whether it be sexual gratification, whether it be personal gratification, you know what I mean? They make you feel like a fucking $1,000,000. You just like them having them around because they're fucking, it doesn't matter what the fucking reason is. The only time you ever get a sincere apology, or what sounds or feels like a sincere apology, is when somebody actually wants you around and they're actually really truly worried about losing the presence of yourself from their life. You see what I'm saying? That's the only time people ever really, truly, truly apologize, right? And even then, as much as they might feel that they're truly apologizing, I would actually go to wager the fact that there's a good possibility that not even then they really even give a shit, right? because because we're not built like that as the animal species that we are. We're not built like that as the mammal species we are, right? We're not built like that. That's not how we're built. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people I think a lot of people have convinced themselves that they have taught themselves so well that they are a legitimately caring motherfucker. And I find that to be absolutely bullshit. And I find that to be bullshit. And I find it relative in the fact that if you look on a bigger scale of it, it actually plays out to fruition. And think about it. And I mean, that goes for all of us, me, you, everybody in here, anybody else listening to this, anybody else watches this at a later time. The fact of the matter is, you really don't give a fuck. And you don't give a fuck about anything but yourself. And if you did, the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, let's just be honest. If we wanted to fucking cure fucking hunger in this motherfucking country, we would. If we wanted to motherfucking cure homelessness, we would. If we wanted it, but we don't care, right? We built systems in which we're comfortable in and we feel like we are progressing in, therefore we don't really give a shit. We are selfish human beings, and the fact of the matter is all of us are selfish. And you don't truly ever understand what it means to not be selfish. And the only time you ever, and even as parents, I believe like we think that somehow some magic door has been magically fucking opened, right? Like when we have our kids, right? Because we sit around here and we have our kids, right? We have our kids and we feel like, oh man, oh yes, my kids. I had my kids and I saw my child born and I saw my child come out, take her first breath, and I was changed as an individual. It changed me, it shook me to my core, right? Because I cannot believe I created that. I helped create that. I did that. I had that baby. I did that, right? So you think that you're like this totally selfless human being, right? Because now you're sitting here, you think you're selfless because why? Because you have these little kids and you're feeding them, right? You're feeding them, putting clothes on them, putting a roof over their head, right? So you're like, yeah, I'm a great fucking person. Look at me. I, I care so little about myself and I care so much about this person that this is what I do for that person. See, that's the big ego thing. When the reality is, nigga, that's what you're supposed to do. you trying to take, you trying, like, I don't know, what the fuck is you, like, really, you sitting here taking credit, right? For something you supposed to do. You supposed to take care of them damn kids. Nigga, you don't get no round of applause because, motherfucker, you taking care of some kids. That goes for women and men. I don't give a shit who the fuck you are, right? That's that ego coming out. Thinking that you are a good person, but you're not, right? None of us are. Like, ultimately, like, really, ultimately, none of us are. And I'm not saying that none of us are ultimately a good person because, we're just bad people. No, I'm saying that the systems in which we came up in, the systems that we think about in, the systems in which we produce for ourselves cause this caused this. But do I blame the system totally? I don't totally blame the system because we based our system based off of the things that we inherently know, which is survival, right? Survival of the fittest, right? Because we're animals, right? Because we're mammals, right? And every single species has their order, right? And they have a way of living in order for them to populate and be able to populate as much as possible. So the thing is I think what I'm trying to ultimately say is that because of our selfishness, we have been able to fucking actually survive. But because of this ability to cover up the selfishness in which we have, and we conceal it in this idea of um, um, lowering my ego or my pride, or look at it as if like I'm a good person with the ability to change something that is supposed to be done naturally. It doesn't fucking matter, right? That's just how it's done. It makes it seem like you're doing this out of your heart, right? And so we give ourselves these false ideas of fucking we give a fuck about somebody and we give a fuck about somebody else's feelings when ultimately, truly, we don't, right? Truly we give a fuck about that feeling. Ultimately we feel we want somebody back in our life, even that, right? Even when we apologize what sounds or feels to be sincere, right? Even when we do that, oftentimes you can actually look at it and you can oftentimes look at it as a way of looking at a situation and saying, I'm afraid of being alone. I want them. I want them in my life because either A, I think I love them. I profess to love them. I've convinced myself that I love them. Or B, I don't want to be alone. I can't handle being alone. I need somebody to walk this thing called life with me, or at least for a little while longer until I can find a better person to walk this life with me, right? And we call these it's really funny because when we go down to the brass, care enough to get enough, right? It's like that's really what it is. I care enough to get a nut, right? You care enough, and this is what it is ultimately. What are we ultimately, you know building relationships for, and what is the purpose of repairing relationships that we've ultimately burned? Well, ultimately, if we are ultimately truly trying to be better people, it's in order for the purpose for the apology It's for the other person to get, the person that you're apologizing to, is for them to get closure of a situation that went bad between two people. The reason why a person accepts someone's apology is so not only for you to be able to move on, but for them to be able to process and deal with whatever they have to deal with on their side. You see how this goes? This is when we apologize and forgive, these two things are used for a reason. They're they're supposed to be used to help promote healing. But the only time that there can be proper healing is if people can be honest and accept reality. You understand? And the only way people can accept reality is if you can give them the truth, right? So if somebody, you know, so if you have an ex or somebody that you're getting with and you're like, and they're like, dude, why are you leaving me? Just answer their questions. Now, again, is there a time that you have to stop, you know, just trying to, give them the same? Yes. Like, probably if you've been completely, utterly fucking bone crushing honest to a person for, like for a little while, and you've answered all of his questions as honestly as possible, and you've done it a few times, then it's probably about that time to like let it pass. But the problem is if if you've just given them what you wanted and then wrapped it up in an apology, and he didn't get what he needed out of it, then you didn't truly apologize. You apologized for yourself so you feel better about yourself. You didn't apologize for him. So then the healing never begins. You understand? So there is no repairing of any kind of relationship. So is there a point to repair any relationships? I think there is a point to repair relationships, even if you're not going to be as good a friend as before. But I think one of the biggest reasons why you should repair relationships, not that you guys can later keep on having a relationship, but because you want to be able to fucking look at yourself and look at them and say, you know what? Look, I did you wrong or you did me wrong. We got it out in the air. We both accepted it. We both been able to, close that chapter in our life, and we can both move on to our separate things, and we can go on. Now, I don't have to like you. I don't have to be your friend, but I could, right? But this is what closure is all about. Closure helps people heal. It helps everybody walk away and be happy. The problem is a lot of time we like to give people what we want to give them, right? So like, and what you want to give them. Like, let's say I'm in a situation, right? And, you know, I was caught stealing something, right? And I'm going to go to jail. And the thing is my girl is with me. I got my girl with me, right? And I keep on going in and out of jail. She told me, she said, the next time you go to jail, you're going to fucking next time you get locked up, I'm leaving. I'm done. So I go to the store. I steal this thing, right? Now, here's the thing. You go to jail, and the first thing she's going to ask you is, why the fuck did you steal? Now, A, you can say, I didn't steal. I didn't do it, baby. I didn't do it. B, you can be like, okay, I stole. And then be exactly honest why you stole. I'm a kleptomaniac. I have a mental problem. I need to go get help for this. Blase, blase. Or, I don't know what it is. I don't know, just being honest. I saw it. I wanted it. I wanted you to have it. I wanted a house. We're so broke. I don't fucking know, right? But you're honest, right? Now, the thing is if you're not honest, right? And you use option A, which is, I didn't steal it. Right? What you're doing is you're not giving her the ability, right? You're not giving her the ability to Allow her to see you at a vulnerable position and just be honest. And seeing a lot of times women, when a woman says something like this, she says, I'm gonna leave. If you go to jail again, I'm gonna leave. 9 times out of 10, a woman ain't gonna leave. She ain't going to, as long as you're fucking honest, right? And if you tell her something like, I feel like a fucking loser, babe. No, I don't fucking know. But if you give her some real honest statement, and a lot of times they will fucking stay there, right? Sometimes they won't, sometimes they will. It doesn't matter. But a lot of times they would. They would be like, usually they'd be like, if you would have just been honest with me, I would have stayed with you. But you wasn't honest with me, and I can't have somebody that I can't trust, and blah 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 blah. Right? You see how this works? You see, the thing is, and so when you come back and you try to repair that fucking bridge right there, the thing is you want to be able to let them be able to look at you and have respect, and be able to look at yourself and know you have respect. That's the whole reason about repairing. So when you go back and you say, you know what, man, back when I was a kid, man, when we was together, remember when we was together, I always go to jail, blah 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 blah. Right? A sincere apology is going to listen to her. Yeah, you just made me so mad. I loved you so much, blase, blase, right? He's gonna listen to her, right? Why did you leave? Why did you do it? You tell him at the time, I didn't realize I had I had issues and I didn't realize it at the time. And I wasn't honest with myself and I wasn't honest, right? So they hear that. Now they hear that. Now you're being honest. Now they're saying, oh shit, wow, okay, now he gets it, right? But the thing is you lied so long, even though you was honest at that point, she's probably not going to believe you because you was lying for so damn long, right? And this is the problem. The longer it takes for you to fucking come and be honest with people and shit like that, that shit spoils. And it takes so long for people to get fucking shit back. And that's how relationships end up stopping. But the fact of the matter is, had you have told her that shit from the very beginning, right? The fact of the matter is, she would have known. Whether she stayed with you or not is not really the question. That's not even really what this is about. What it is about being a straight up individual and giving other people an opportunity, right? To deal with the situation and give it proper closure. Now, if they want to continue that future with you, that's a whole different story, but the closure is theirs. It's not yours. As the person who did someone wrong, it's not for your closure, it's for theirs. Hate to break that shit to you guys. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people be like, yeah, you don't apologize for them. You do it for yourself because you got to forgive yourself. Bullshit. How do you forgive yourself for something you did wrong to somebody else? That shit makes no sense. That's the most fucking selfless, selfish thinking, ideological, ways of thinking in the world. Like you don't get to decide when something is good enough for somebody else. When you fucked up, you fucked up. You have to take that. Now, if you want to if you want to deal with, if you don't want to deal with, them tripping and being mad at you, that's on you too. That's okay. That's fine. That's cool. You know what I mean? But if you did something wrong to somebody, how do you expect them not to be pissed off? If you did somebody wrong, how are you then going to get pissed off at them because they're not, they're still not happy with you? Right? You did them wrong. You don't get to give them a time limit. Oh, it's been long enough. No, fuck out of here, dude. Right? The fact of the matter is, people often, they say these words like, I'm sorry and forgive me and all this shit. But 9 times out of 10, it's for their own self-gratification. So, what am I ultimately saying? Well, what I'm ultimately saying is that us as a human species, right? Us as a human species, right? Us as a human species are predominantly, we are a selfish species. The rare instances of selfless behavior even still can be seen to be as nothing more than for self. Like, really, it's really funny how that shit works. Selfless behavior is really truly about self. Isn't that a crazy fucking concept? You're not doing it to make other people feel better. You're doing it to make yourself feel better. You don't feed kids who are starving in Ethiopia because it's going to help the kids. No, you're feeding the kids to make yourself feel better about yourself. See, there's a difference of this shit, right? And this is what I think this is ultimately what we are. And I think that's ultimately I think that should be ultimately what we should be thriving for as a human species. A human species, we should be thinking of ways to be more honest with each other, not against each other, right? Not lying. There's no reason to lie, right? Right? So to be honest, more honest with each other and being able to, that way, if we're more honest with each other, then what we're able to do is we're actually able to get closure on certain situations. You see what I'm saying? That means it's easier for the dudes who fucking, got broken up by their girls for them to get over shit, or for the girl to get over it when she gets dumped or cheated on or something. You know why? Because honesty, right? Sincere honesty, whether it's something we want to hear or whether we don't want to hear it, honesty is something that actually can give other people closure. See? It can actually give other people closure. Even bad honesty, shit that's going to hurt people's feelings, that actually gives people closure. And I know that people there's a lot of people out there that they're like, yeah, but it's so mean though, and I don't want to hurt their feelings. Yeah, you know what? But guess what? You're doing more damage by doing this shit, right? You're doing more damage by doing the fake shit. Just do the real shit. It's less overall damage to the other person. It's going to be less damage to their ego, their pride, to everything, right? So it's really funny to me that I find myself in this situation having this conversation because, you know what I mean? Like one of my biggest things, I'm really, 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 really big on kind of like this thing of trust, right? The thing is I don't really have a lot of things, but if I don't trust you, I'm done with you. I'm over it, right? And I think a lot of people would agree with me. Like I think there's a lot of people in the world that would be like, oh, you know what? If if this person would ever lie to me, I don't think I could ever forgive them, right? How could I be with someone that I never trusted, that I don't trust? How could I do that? Right? You do it all the time. When a dude cheats on you, you say it all the time. That's the first thing you go to. I can't be with you. I can't trust you, right? Okay, well, the fact of the matter is you're right. You see what I'm saying? And that is just as justified for someone who gives out fake apologies time after time after time after time after time after time after time. The same attitude is justified across the board because trust is a big thing. Now, I think a good question is, why is trust such a big deal? But I think we all can answer that in some way, right? Hold on, let me turn this down a little bit. I apologize. Me ADD. That wasn't meant for me. I'm more like QEP, man. What a legacy. My bad. All right, so the thing is what is trust, right? And why is trust such a big deal? Why is trust such a big deal to us? Why does it matter if I trust you or not? I think that's an easy question, right? That's one of the easiest questions you could possibly ever ask anybody, right? Well, for my safety, clearly, duh, right? My safety. I got to be able to trust you, right? So I think, so then we're getting it. So now we're getting into these concepts: trust, love, forgiveness, free, sincerity. These are all concepts. But why are these concepts so important? Well, the reason why the concept is so important actually roots back to us in the beginning years of being hominids, when we became nomads and we were in this motherfucking, a tribal groups, and we would hunt together, right? and we would eat together and we would sleep together and we would pray together. Well, see, what was needed between a whole group for that whole group to survive was trust. Trust, right? That was the number one thing. Trust was the biggest thing to promise or to give you the best odds of chances of surviving the world. Trust. Trust to another hominid that had the same interest as you. And that interest was to live life, right? This is why we're so betrayed when somebody betrays our trust, because it goes all the way back to our animal instincts. If I trust this person, this other hominid that I'm with, and that hominid does something that puts my life in danger, then I die. He lives. You see what I'm saying? Or I get sincerely hurt, right? This is why trust is like this big thing, because it was a major factor in civilization building. It was a major factor in groups of nomads working together, right? Trust is something because you have to build it over time. And then when you build this thing that we call trust, and again, this trust is just a word to describe this ideal or this concept that we've created for ourselves, right? That concept being trust, trust is being something that where I feel safe that you are going to do your job and you're safe that I'm going to do my job. So we can both survive and make it till tomorrow, get fed and eat. You understand what I'm saying? So now what we're doing is we're talking about this. This is something that's so close to survival. And this is why trust is so important. This is why people across the board, when you fucking give them a reason not to trust you, this is why they totally distrust you from then on out. This is why, because it's an evolutionary reaction that we still have to something that we don't quite still have to deal with, but at the same time, in certain aspects and at certain times, we do still have to deal with it. So it meaning it's the same thing. What we had to deal with way back then is the same shit we have to deal with now. We have different things that are out to kill us, but still we have things that are out to kill us right now. So we still need to have trust with the people in which we're with in order to make sure that we feel comfortable for our best chances of survival. Okay? So this is why trust is such a big thing. Trust goes back to our animal instincts. Trust goes back to, way back when, we couldn't talk and we would only grunt, but we knew what the fuck, we didn't have a word for trust, but we knew what trust was. You see what I'm saying? So that's why trust is like this super important thing to us as human beings, like as hominids, right? As Homo sapien hominids, right? Because instinctually it has to do with survival. Instinctually it has to do with survival, right? If an asteroid hit the fucking planet right the fuck now and you were still alive and you don't know what the fuck's going to happen on the planet, nothing working, who are the people that you're going to go fucking find first? Are you going to go look for anybody? Are you going to stay by yourself? Or are you going to look for your family members, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, your mother, your father, your uncles and brothers and shit? Are you going to look for them first and then go? What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do? Right? Well, one thing I know you're not going to do is do this. You're not going to go and try to find that one person that you don't trust. That's what I will tell you that you're Hold on one second. I keep on. Somebody keeps on calling. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Right, you're looking for your tribe. That's what we're all doing. And this is what I'm talking about. And this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Like brass tacks, let's just break this shit the fuck down. And this is why it's so important to have trust. This is why people think that they don't really understand. So like when you burn, so check this out. So when you burn bridges, and this is what it is. When you burn bridges, but you rectify and you try to fix those bridges, even if somebody doesn't utterly trust in you, you're going to be in a whole lot better position with half a bridge than no bridge whatsoever. Because when you ain't got no bridge, you ain't gonna have nobody to fucking help you out. Then you're gonna be all alone. And guess what? Your odds of survival being all alone, they diminish quickly. You see, so this is the whole point. The whole point of trust is something that links us. It means I can count on you to have my back. You can count on me to have your back. I will be there for you. You will be there for me. Right? So the thing is when you destroy that trust, it's okay. Don't trip. So when you destroy that trust, what happens is what? No more, right? No more. Bye-bye. Right? That trust is bye-bye. And then you wonder why they can't get over it. It's not that they can't get over it. They can't trust you because you haven't been honest. And they don't feel like you've been honest. And that's a big thing. And you don't get to decide when other people feel like you're being honest. And this is just the thing about it. You have to accept these things. These are things we have to accept. So what I would push for is people stop apologizing. This is what I'm pushing for. I push for people need to stop apologizing unless they mean it. I think anything short of a sincere apology should never be given. Never be given. Utterly. And if you're not, and this is what I feel, and this is the honest truth, right? I feel like if you're not willing to put up with the time it takes for any particular person to get over whatever the fuck you did wrong to them, if you're not willing to wait that long, however long it takes, don't apologize. Just don't bother doing it. Just don't do it. Because it's a waste of your time, my time. It's a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of everybody's energy. You know what I mean? If you're going to put a time limit on anything, you do it. Let them do them at their level, at their speed. But you still have to be sincere about it. You don't get to be an asshole about it. You see how this works? So I think there's responsibility on both sides, people who did wrong and were wrong. But I also think that there's responsibility a little bit more on all of us as human beings, where we have to realize that fucking, the biggest problem in this world is not everybody else, it's us, ourselves. And you can look at your personal relationships and how you treat other people. And you can look at how you treat everybody. And you can look at yourself and you can say to yourself, if you're honest, what you'll say to yourself is, you know what? I've been a pretty fucking shitty human being, bro. At the end of the day, we've all been shitty human beings. Me too. Me, you, everybody. All you motherfuckers are shitty fuckers. I've been a shitty fucker. You've been a shitty fucker. All of you motherfuckers. You know why? Because you've all been selfish. We've all been selfish. That's all we care about. We care about ourselves. We don't care about nothing else. You know what I mean? And so I put forth this argument. I put forth this argument as a bill or a statute that we can put forth of let's stop the bullshit. It's the let's stop the bullshit bill that I'm saying this is what we should do. Let's stop the bullshit bill, right? Just stop the bullshit. You know, let's stop acting like we give a shit about anybody else because we don't, right? Because we don't. Let's stop acting like fucking we really give a fuck about somebody else's feelings when we really don't. All right? Let's stop that shit. If you're gonna be a fucking piece of shit, just be a piece of shit. Own it. Love it. I love it. I'm a piece of shit. I'm an asshole. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Am I a piece of shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. Am I an asshole? Abso-fucking-lutely. And I fucking love and I own every single ounce of that. You damn right. Is that they will be there for us, but more that they won't do things to put us in danger. I don't know about that one either. I don't know about that one because I'm looking at shit in a little bit, I think in a very non-consequential sense. I think you're right. I think you have a very legitimate point. But here's the thing. When shit hits the fan, that's that's the attitude that changes really quick, fast, and hurry. Right? Right? Because the thing is if you're not there for me, right? If you're not there for me and I need somebody and you're friend, loved one, relationship, whatever the fuck it is, right? You're not there for me. Are you a friend in the first place? That's the thing. Or because if we're basing this on people who don't want to put me in danger, if that's what trust is, then guess what? Then I trust a whole lot of you motherfuckers because it's not that you guys can put me in danger. You guys couldn't put me in danger if your life depended on it. So I trust all you motherfuckers. If that's the measure of trust, then I trust a whole bunch of y'all motherfuckers. But I don't. I don't trust none of you motherfuckers because that's not the measurement of trust. The measurement of trust is who won't put me in the danger, put me in danger. The measurement of trust and the measurement of who you are as far as who you are for me, as far as our relationship is, are you gonna be there when I need you? I don't need you there all the time, and I don't need you there, motherfucking, at the small times. But on those times that I need you, are you gonna be there? You know what I mean? Again, this is this is. Are you gonna be there? You might not be able to do shit, but are you gonna be there? When I need someone to storm out ideas with, you gonna be there? You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You might not be able to do nothing, right? But are you gonna help me come up with any ideas on how to better deal with the situation, right? See, the thing is about trust is people that if I trust you, this is the beginning, the earmarks and the opening, the foundation of friendship or relationship, either one, right? I gotta trust you in order to be your friend. Got to be your friend, be able to be honest with you and be, real with you. Right? Got to know you a little bit to have taken advantage of your trust like that. So we got time into this. We got a lot of things built into this shit. So trust is kind of a big thing. I think trust is a little bit more than people who are not putting me in danger. Just my personal opinion. I could be wrong on that. I think that's just a really low bar to put trust. That's just me. That's just me. That's a low bar for trust. You feel me? Like, give me a little bit higher of a bar for trust, and I'll fuck with it. But that bar's a little bit too low. So yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Again, like I said, I think everybody has to make their own decisions, but I think everybody needs to figure out what's worth their time, what's not worth their time. What are they true? What are they true about? What are they not? Because see, the thing is at the end of the day, we're all shitting on ourselves. We're all fucking ourselves because we're just building more enemies. We're building more enemies than friends. And then what happens when everybody is enemies with everybody on earth? Everybody fights. If everybody fights, everybody goes to war. Everybody goes to war. Planet goes boom. We all die. See? So there's got to be a point where we have to say, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a point where we say, all right, I'm done playing the bullshit. You know what I mean? There's got to be a point. And I'm just kind of wondering, when's that point going to be? You know what I mean? But anyway, if anybody want to come up, let me know. Tell me now. Because that was my quick chat. Like I said, it was a quick chat. Hashtag quick chat. You know what I mean? And I got that on my head because I was just thinking about something. So, you know what I mean? So my thing is ultimately the question I really like to I repeat all y'all. Right? So the question I ultimately ask is, you know what I mean? What what is the point of repairing friendships if you never had if the friendship wasn't real in the first place? You know what I mean? But we do have a trust for all daily. But we do have a trust for all daily, I think. Like, I guess I feel like if we didn't have a basic level of trust for everyone, we would be Fight 24. We would think everything and everyone was out to kill us. Yeah, I guess I can understand that. I guess I can understand that. I mean, but 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 the question is, how high is that trust level, right? Like, if we have trust for each other on a daily basis, like you say, considering what you said, and let's say I submit and I say, okay, I concede the fact that you just said to a certain degree we have to have. How much trust is that really? Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily right, true, but saying, let's say that she's right, right? Like, how how much trust is that minimal trust? And is it trust or is it faith? I would probably, I think the trust word is a valid word. I think trust would be a valid word too. So you know what I mean. So what is the level of trust do we really have though? Right. And that's just and that's the problem because it's like a very, very small and that trust that you have on a day-to-day basis, that very small smidgen of dusty ass trust that you have for all of society, okay, can disappear in less than a fucking second if the wrong thing is done. Am I wrong or am I right? So these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Right? These are the ultimate questions we have to ask ourselves. So, what's the point? Like, what is the point of asking for forgiveness, and what is the point for giving forgiveness. The day, the day-to-day confidence that we place upon people isn't trust. I consider that just to be playing the odds. Right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's trusting the odds, or playing the odds would probably be a little bit better of a way of putting that. So I would agree with you, Shatira, because that's what it is. It's kind of like you're just kind of playing the odds. You know what I mean? And you're playing the odds that you're given based upon the information that we've known, and we've continued to, keep track of through history. You see what I'm saying? Things that we subconsciously can keep track of. You know what I mean? So that's that, and that's the whole thing. So my thing is that at the end of the day, you have to make sure if there's a reason to rehabilitate a relationship. Only you can make that decision. But the thing is if one person is trying to rehabilitate the situation and another person is not trying to rehabilitate the situation, the person who is not trying to rehabilitate the situation should just be honest and say, yeah, it's not going to work. Maybe answer a couple questions that they have for them. Just be like, that's the best you're going to get from me. And, let's just go our set. You know what I mean? No matter what it is, like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, this basic level of respect. Excuse me, sir. Is this where discussing the electric slide while eating spaghetti with ketchup? No, this is not where you discuss the electric slide and eating fucking spaghetti that has ketchup on it. No, this is not that place. Okay? This is not the place. No. No. I got something. Look, watch this. Let's see. What's up, y'all? You see this box right here? That's a very, very, very important box. Rob's too damn busy. Tell that nigga to quit his job. I guess I shouldn't be promoting that shit, huh? Telling black men to fucking quit their jobs and go unemployed and shit. Probably shouldn't do that. My bad. Sorry. Don't tell him to quit his job. But I think that's about it. I think I'm about done. I think I've done my rant. Just gave you guys something to think about. I just wanted to give y'all something to think about, that sometimes if you're going to take the step, just my point is sometimes if you are the person, that's apologizing for doing something, you have to understand that you have to take the time to let them deal with it, whatever way they deal with it. They do not deal with things the same way that you deal with. And, you can't put them on a time limit for them to forgive you or not to forgive you. That's just not how shit works. For the people who are, being lied to, you know, at some point you're going to have to make a decision in your life on, number one, are you going to accept that apology? Number two, is that apology good enough? And number three, are you going to be able to just, close that area up and move the fuck on? And if you can do those things, then you're fine. If you can't, then don't forgive them. And if you don't think you can ever forgive them, then just don't do it. And you are not responsible for anybody, and you're not responsible for giving anybody forgiveness just because they fucking ask for forgiveness. It is what it is. All right. So that's what I gotta say. And people should start paying a little bit more attention to that, dude. Start paying attention a little bit more about other motherfuckers, because at the end of the day, you're one of these days you're gonna go out there and that one person who you thought was your homie that was there for you is gonna magically be gone. And you're gonna fucking be like, what the fuck? And it's all gonna be because they had been telling you shit and you had never paid attention to it before, because again, you was too busy being selfish, which is a natural thing as a human it's a natural human condition, but you did not feel that your relationship with that person was important enough for you to keep that selfishness in check. So it's okay though. It's all right. You deal with that. To AZ in August. Maybe we can AZ in August. Um, August. Hopefully, I'll have my fucking I'll have my motherfucking surgery done by then, and hopefully, I won't even be fucking out here. Hopefully, I'll be where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, maybe it might be possible. That might be possible. But anyway, man, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm juiced as fuck. I got this motherfucking piece that I've been waiting for. Finally got this motherfucker. Spent a fucking fat ass pretty penny on this motherfucker too. So I'm a little juiced. I'm a little happy. And, I'm gonna go play with that now. I'm gonna play with my new toys and my new gadgets. All right. So I shall talk to y'all later. Think about the conversation. It doesn't matter what side you fall on. I gave you my opinion on it. What's yours? Let's hear it. Stay up.